So welcome to Deep Dive with Dr. D. I have with me Rolf Williams, Ellensburg native, yes,
Yeah.
right, yep, and owner of Jerrol's. So if anyone knows Ellensburg, you know Jerrol's, right? Been around a long time, and we'll talk about that. It's a beautiful Sunday morning in Ellensburg. It's my plan to do this, of course. Do my Monday morning prep, and then probably go on a little motorcycle ride, so that'll be good.
Me too.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. You ride. Yeah. But before that, we're going to do a little show here. So thank you for joining us. And I forgot to ask you. So this is good. You sell my book in your store. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. That's very kind of you. Have I given you a signed copy? Personally.
I don't know that you have. Although I feel bad because did we give you a copy of our book?
Oh,
and I thought about it, but I didn't
shoot.
know.
I don't know it.
Well, I will the next time I see you then.
Oh, guess what? You know what? Oh, this is perfect. This is perfect.
What?
Okay,
am I guessing?
I have two versions.
Right. You have a new edition.
You were kind enough to host my book right out of the gate. So this is an original.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's for you.
That's great. Thank you.
Have you read it yet?
You know, I have not. I know Taylor has read it, and he just had nothing but great things. And,
check it out.
I will.
Yeah, you'll enjoy it. And I'd love a copy of Jerrol's. That's super cool.
Yeah. The next time I see you.
All right. Perfect.
Won't be long,
and that's where I like to start. So if you want a copy of my book, here's the man right here. I always say it's locally at Jerrol's and Pearl Street Books. And I always say this. If you want to buy it online, you can locally at Jerrol's, and they'll ship it right to your door. But it's also
we'll deliver it to you for free. Yeah, we do same day free delivery.
Okay, there you go. So you can get a copy of my book there or wherever. It's also an ebook and an audio book. So there's enough of that. I always like to start my guests with introducing themselves. So you and I know each other. I've known you for a long time. I see you almost every day. We say hi. But for our guest out there who may watch this later or listening to it now, who are you? You can share whatever you want, personally, professionally.
So as you mentioned, I'm an Ellensburg native. I grew up in Ellensburg. Who am I? I am the father of a adult child who has profound autism. I am the current, caretaker of a third generation business in Ellensburg. I'm a motorcyclist. I'm a backcountry skier. And I am a person who's just trying to be a better person and would like to share kindness and love throughout the world, which is, anyway.
Yeah, which is good right now. Needed more than ever.
Oh, good grief.
Yeah.
Yes. And I guess I'm a person who just wants to do the right thing. And I'm not afraid to speak my mind and to say what I think is right and to try to live my life in alignment with that.
Yeah. We were, I went to the dance last night with Katrina and some friends. Rigadoon. That was fun. And we were just sitting at the table just talking about how that is, we were enjoying that. And we actually sat at that table last night with some friends who we all know each other at different levels. Let's start doing a dinner. Let's find ways to connect with each other on deeper levels because that's where the power is in life and living. And I want to say to you, I've just lived in Ellensburg a little amount of time compared to you since 2001. But I've always appreciated how you've really championed causes, right? Whatever the cause is. And your employees that you have, you got a good picker. Whatever process you do and whatever training you give, it shows. Because I go to Weininger's every morning, right, for coffee, and I'll walk through, or me and Katrina go through. Your employees always greet people. They always ask if you need help finding something. And it's not just that, like Taylor, we just love Taylor. He's a great kid. We've gotten to know him. So whatever you're doing in that realm, keep doing it because it shows.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're married?
Yes.
How long have you been married?
I've been married for 30 years to
30
my wife,
years.
Michelle, who is also co-owner of Jerrol's.
Yeah, okay. And so then you have your son, And
Correct.
one of our questions, April, is Autism Awareness Month, correct?
Yep. Awareness and acceptance.
Yes. Yeah. Very acceptance. Good. And then you have a daughter that you said lives in Tri-Cities?
Correct.
Yeah. And you're a grandfather.
That's twice over.
Yeah, twice over.
Yeah.
Yeah. How old are the grandchildren?
Oh, gosh, you're really going to put me on the spot, aren't you? So
Uh-oh.
I've got a third grader and a kindergartner.
Oh, yeah. And isn't that a great role?
Yeah, it is. Although I got to tell you, I keep waiting for them to get to a point where we can do more things together, motorcycling and things like that.
Because they're young.
Yeah. But they're amazing.
Of course.
And they're bilingual. Their first language is Spanish, which is so cool.
Wow. Super cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really
neat.
is.
Do you know Spanish?
I know a little bit. I know enough to know that I don't know what they're saying.
Yeah. It always reminded my time in the military in Germany. They teach you just enough to get you home or, get some food. So, but good. So thank you for that introduction. Let's see. So, fourth generation?
It will be fourth at the next succession, which is pending.
Mm-hmm.
Or
Jerrol's. And we'll talk about that. You're married. You have children, a grandfather. How would your friends, and you're a humble guy, you just are, so this might be a little, but give it a shot. How would your friends describe you?
Probably somebody who likes to argue.
Argue or debate?
Debate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I'll always take the opposite side of whatever, just to take the opposite side.
Oh, yeah.
My wife calls me a contrarian.
I'm a little
and she's probably right.
Well, I think it's important to look at opposing views. I have students in one class this quarter, they do a writing. They do a couple of these. One of the writings I have them do is to write about a generation other than their own, right? So you can get some sense of a differing view, a differing look on life.
Sure.
Do you think that's accurate for you, wanting to have that?
I'm very curious.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't thought about that, but I do like different perspectives.
Yeah.
I love history.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's an interesting concept. And I think the other thing that people would say about me is I'm a doer. I tend to show my things by doing and making things happen.
I'm nodding my head because I see that. I see you doing through your business a lot. You and I don't know each other real well personally. We're going to get to know each other today, but I would imagine that's pretty accurate in your personal life too, because I see it at the store. So we'll get into it with some questions here. So thank you for the introduction.
Well, thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, this is good. All right, let's do a question.
Okay. Are we going to talk about the t-shirts?
Oh, yeah, we are going to talk about the t-shirts. So I had on a different shirt for a variety of reasons. Who cares? But he took his jacket off and he's got on a Led Zeppelin shirt. I love music. I'm like, oh, God, I got to go change. So I put on the Record Company, which is a band out of Wisconsin, blues rock. Is rock your favorite genre? What's your favorite genre?
I like a lot of stuff, but rock, classic rock, blues.
Same. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Very good. So there we go. So we're a little more matching now. Very good. And I have albums from both up there. All right. Good. What's one thing people don't see about running a long-standing, soon-to-be fourth-generation local business like Jerrol's? What don't they see? What don't they know?
Well, there's a ton of things. And it being fourth generation doesn't change what you don't know about what it takes to run a business. But what I would say, there's two things I want to mention. One is just how deep our roots run. So this is multi-generational. It's a little bit different. But, our roots in Ellensburg are very deep. And the number of people we've been able to help and impact is very deep. And that we see 4 generations shopping with us at once.
Wow. Wow.
And those roots, and Jerrol's is, all businesses are kind of like a plant. It takes a lot to feed and water and to maintain them and so forth. and just how deep those roots run through me personally. I mean, I've known nothing other than Jerrol's, and Jerrol's has been incredible for me and my family.
Have you ever had another job?
Yes, I have.
You did? What'd you do?
I was an independent sales rep.
Oh, okay.
In the art supply industry. It was amazing.
Okay.
Super good. And for traveled all over the place. And for one day I was what they call a jobber for vitamins at Weimar.
Okay.
Horrible. I quit in the same day. It was the worst thing I ever did in my life.
Okay.
But
yeah.
It's just
back
that
to Jerrol's.
I can't separate myself from Jerrol's. It's just one and the same.
It's your identity.
Yeah.
Because it's your family. Right?
It's just whatever it is, it runs deep. And the other thing I would say is that long ago we fell out of love with our what and we fell in love with our who. So we're not focused on the things we sell as much as we are focused on the people we sell them to.
Okay.
We're always looking at the who and looking at things always from their perspective. Not how to be a better bookstore, but how to help the people who walk through our door more, which has made everything possible.
Interesting.
Which is just a unique perspective on how we come at everything.
It's not a transaction.
Oh, it's absolutely not a transaction. It's a lifetime relationship. Actually, multi-generational is how we look at it.
Yeah.
And that's actually what we do is we create relationships with our team and clients to earn their trust over a lifetime.
I imagine that feels pretty special, I guess is the word I think, when you see a family come in with 4 generations at the same time and you've known that family forever. That's
and they've known us.
Yeah.
And we've been different to each one of them because we're different to everybody. Everyone has their own relationship.
Sure. Now, what did Jerrol start as?
I know soda fountain.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, right. In the same location.
On the same piece of dirt.
Same piece of dirt.
Right. Now, not in the same location, but the same piece of dirt.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
And
that's
then,
always been our dirt.
So Reader's Digest version, just the evolution from soda fountain to what Jerrol's is today.
So I'm going to go back a step because the foundation of Jerrol's really came from my grandparents, Don and Irene Williams. And they had a son with cerebral palsy. And she was an immigrant from Norway.
What year are we talking here?
We're talking 1930s.
Okay, go ahead.
Jerrol started in 1947. So we have a mother of what was called a spastic child who was an immigrant and whose husband kept losing his job because the business owners kept screwing it up. And so he had to keep finding new work and new work. And so she decided to take ownership of their lives by creating a store in their front yard. So their house was like 5 feet away from where they built the store. It was in their front yard.
Okay. And right where it is, on the same dirt.
Right, on that, right where the stop sign is. So where the store
and that was
is
the highway, right?
Like Highway 10.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there was probably way less traffic than there is now, but it was the main road between Spokane and Seattle. And Seattle is probably a 2-day trip.
Yep.
And so it was a big deal. And when you got to Ellensburg, you'd stop and you would want aspirin and something to eat in the bathroom. And that's what we provided.
Wow.
And
so an original rest stop.
Yeah, sort of. Yeah, it's sort of like an early 7-Eleven as well, a convenience store and so forth.
Okay.
And the name Jerrol's comes from 3 letters from my father's name, Jerry, J-E-R, and 3 letters for my namesake, Uncle Rolf, R-O-L, and an apostrophe S for ownership. And that was my grandma taking ownership of her situation.
Wow.
And we were a soda fountain.
Yep.
And people like Susie Rogers, who lives here in Ellensburg, she used to live on the same block we did. And her mom would bake pies each morning, and they would bring them down to Grandpa, and Grandpa would sell the pies at the restaurant. And to begin with, we didn't have hot food. We had donuts, cold sandwiches, coffee. And then we had what they call sundry items, which were books and comic books. And then we expanded that building, and then in 1950 we actually built a new building. We moved the house and the mobile gas station. So when we started, the car was not dominant.
No.
When 1950 the car became dominant, and there was a gas station on every corner, literally. And so mobile gas station wanted our corner, and they gave Grandpa enough of a lease that he could move his house, build a new store, which is what we call the old store, which is what you walk into when you come off of our east
Yes.
Oh, that's not true. It's in the middle. It's the middle piece. So we kind of have 3 pods.
Yeah.
Anyway, the middle pod is the original store.
Was the gas station where the gravel lot is now?
The gas station was our parking lot. Between us and Central.
Okay.
And then we just expanded, so we got more into school supplies, and we had a drive-through diner is what we were at that point.
What? Oh my gosh.
And so you can still, if you ask, we'll show you pictures where you can see the diner, and we'll show you where it was, and you can see where the hood was for the grill and everything.
What year were you born?
I was born in 65.
65. So we're getting close to that period. When you were born, or are we in that period now?
No. Okay, we're in the 50s.
Yep.
We're in the 50s. And so then that expanded 3 times, and we kept getting more into school supplies. You had the GI. So the history of Jerrol's is really the history of the United States and the history of Washington State. So my grandpa came to Ellensburg because of Hanford. He did their laundry. Part of it.
Wow.
And it was so massive that they needed a central location to send it throughout the entire state.
Oh my gosh.
And so that's what he did in part. And so Hanford brought him to Ellensburg.
Oh my gosh.
The GIs coming back from the wars is what allowed Jerrol's to grow as Central grew. And so we became more and more oriented towards school supplies.
Okay.
In 1964, my dad came back. He was in the Korean conflict and then got a job in Seattle repoing vehicles from Boeing. Boeing was slowing down and they wanted to turn off the lights when they were in Seattle. And then he came back, but he hated food. He hated that whole concept. So we went out of the food business and we got into the textbook business. And so that big shift happened.
And that was because of your grandfather.
So my grandfather left.
Yep.
My dad took it over. He got rid of food.
Oh, your dad
started selling textbooks.
Oh, wow.
And so that was one of our biggest change, and that's probably where we initially started to fall out of love with our what. Because it wasn't like we would see the difference. We could shift because we weren't married to being the best hamburger.
Yes.
We were married to what does our who want.
Yeah.
What is missing in their lives. And so we started selling textbooks. And we were the first ones to sell used textbooks in this particular environment. And we did textbooks for a long time. That's what I grew up into is the textbook world. And then about 10 years ago, textbooks changed tremendously for all kinds of reasons. And we left the textbook industry. And we sort of replaced it a little bit with RC and a lot with other things. And we really got into the business world. And so we have 3 channels we sell through currently. We have retail, which is what most people are familiar with. And then we have our online, jerrols.com. And there's also office.jerrols.com.
Sure.
That's our business leg, and that's where businesses can order from us. Shows up. So they order by 4, shows up at midnight. We deliver it with our own team to them the next day.
Wow.
And so like all the supplies you see for janitorial at the event center, the paper towels, the toilet paper, the hand soap, the sanitizer, that's us.
That's all Jerrol's.
Anything in the correction facility, gloves, toilet paper, etc. That's all us. County offices, that's all us.
Wow.
And then of course all the other businesses like
and who's created that channel? Is that you?
Well, I mean, I was involved in all of it. There was a team member who was very interested in that.
Okay.
And a lot of it is just seeing the opportunity that's in the world. And that's, as an entrepreneur, that's the hardest thing is what to say no to. Because there's so many things you could be doing.
Yeah.
But we had a vendor who was into office supplies.
Okay.
And we had a sales rep with that vendor who was very much into trying to help people get into the office supply world. And they were really set up to support independent office supply stores in this particular niche. So we're competing against Office Depot, Staples, Amazon, and they were uniquely set up to help us do that. And this is at the same time Suncadia was coming.
Okay.
And Suncadia wanted to be able to order online. They said, we'll order from you, but it has to be online.
Yeah.
So that forced me to figure out office.jerrols.com.
Okay.
This vendor was there. They supported with their infrastructure. And so there we go.
That's pretty awesome.
And so there's a...
Yeah. And I I've said this to you and I want to say it here. I've always admired you and obviously your family, your parents, grandparents learning this for adapting along the way. right? The evolution of Jerrol's. Because many business owners might have said, the food thing, like, nah, we're just going to close up.
Right.
But your dad's like, no, we're going to shift gears. And I've personally watched you shift gears over the last 10 years. I teach at Central and the bookstore on campus. It's just like, it's not a bookstore anymore.
Right.
Everything's online. It's an ebook or no book at all or whatever the case may be. And I've always, as a fellow business owner, entrepreneur guy, I've admired you and Corey, like the marrying of Weinigers and Jerrol's, and people that live in Ellensburg know that. Like, I'm like, wow, that is really cool, really innovative. You brought in Mark Pickerel, and I go there now and I can buy albums and pens. Katrina can get her preschool stuff and I can get an album. Like, that's meaningful stuff. And a lot of people, would just say, I'm good. I'm going to wrap it up. Your family and you have said, no, we're going to adapt.
Well, and I think that's, everyone wants to know the secret of being a third generation business. Don't stop. Don't quit.
Yeah.
I mean, that's it. You just don't quit.
I like it.
No matter what. You don't quit. COVID comes, you don't quit. You find a way through it. The obstacle is the way. Yes.
And it's just been over 10 years, the anniversary of Jerrol's and Weinigers.
11 years, I think, 11, as of last.
Okay. Yeah. Super cool.
February.
Well, thank you for all that. I think that's, it's always cool to know the stories behind the people and the places. In small town Ellensburg, Jerrol's, like I said, anyone who's came to school here or lived here any amount of time, Jerrol's. Everyone knows Jerrol's.
So that is actually not true.
Okay.
Really, I mean, there's probably 30% of the population of Kittitas County that have never stepped foot in our store. Oh, and that's my problem, not theirs.
Yeah.
But then again, we're not for everybody. And there's some people that'll never step through the doors, and that's fine.
And I'm an everyday guy.
Right.
I go, so I'm assuming everyone knows, but you're right. No.
But I mean, that's what a lot of people think. It's just because you've been here for 79 years that everybody knows who you are.
Yeah.
And that's my challenge, is to make sure that people at least know what we are and that we want to help them and that they're welcome.
Yeah.
I mean, you may not agree with everything we are behind, but that doesn't mean you aren't welcomed and we don't respect you. Because that's the whole thing. We're welcoming, safe, and respectful for everyone.
Well, and like I said, if you choose, so he's right. Everyone doesn't know about Jerrol's. I want you to know about Jerrol's. Go walk in the door, because it's really cool, because you get greeted and there's no pressure to. It's like you can walk around and someone will ask you once if you want some help, and then you're left alone. You can go get a coffee at Weinigers and walk through Jerrol's. You might end up walking out with something because you got a lot of cool stuff. So there's my shameless plug for you, because I'm a Jerrol's fan. I'm a Jerrol's and Weinigers fan. How about another question?
Certainly.
That was a good, and some of these will start running into each other, except for the one about, I want you to have an opportunity to talk about Autism Awareness and Acceptance Month. But this one, we've answered some of this, but what has it been like? So we talked about the different versions of Jerrol's over the years. So what has it been like adapting a multi-generation business through all that? You've seen a lot. You and I were old enough that we've seen a lot of life change, but you've seen firsthand the changes at Jerrol's. So what's it been like seeing all of those changes along the way?
So we talked about this a little bit, but it's baked into our DNA at this point. We just change and adapt, and that's what we do. I mean, continuous improvement is one of our core values. So, I mean, every single day we're fixing 10, 100 things by 1%, not major changes, but by just little things to always improve. For me personally, it's my sweet spot. I love change. I love solving problems. And so I get a great deal of joy and energy from having obstacles. It doesn't mean I'm always smiling about them.
Sure.
But I love the challenge of how can we make this better and how do we overcome it? I think one of the advantages of being multi-generational is that we do have a foundation to work from. I mean, we know our core values. So that never changes. I know that I'm here to help people, that I'm here to improve myself, my team members, the people who walk through my door, my community, and I know that I support diversity no matter what it looks like. Because I believe the differences in people is what makes it interesting, not the similarities. So I have a foundation to work from, and I know what I will and won't do 100%. I'm never going to sell guns. I'm never going to sell alcohol. I'll never sell cigarettes again. We used to.
Oh, yeah,
when I was a kid, we were selling cigarettes, but my dad said, no, this is not the way to go. So we'll never sell anything that harms someone.
Yeah. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. This hit my brain. Has there ever been thought of expanding?
We have expanded. We've done lots of things.
Yeah.
And my wife and I actually owned a store in town called Creative Concepts for 10 years back in the 90s.
Okay.
But one of the things, in fact, it's on my wall and it came from my dad, is growth for the sake of growth is the ideology of the cancer cell. Wow. And so it is a unique spot. A lot of people think business and capitalism is about unbridled growth, and that if you're not building 50 stores and then ultimately going to sell it, then you're not a success. And I think that's not true. I think it's the impact you make on the world. Dale Metter and I don't know if you know Dale, but we spent the other day talking about this and about the value that businesses bring and to the world and to the community. And so, no, I have no desire to go elsewhere because I don't need to. There's another thing, acres of diamonds, that you can always go search for diamonds somewhere else. But there is more than enough opportunity to sustain us here. We have not even come close to tapping our potential here. So why go anywhere else?
Yeah, I like that. The conversation from time to time comes up. Have you and Katrina ever thought of moving, they say, back to the west side? I'm from Tacoma originally, and she's from Aberdeen. And it's like, and the knee jerk is no. And it's like, oh, because we could maybe go back over there and do the same things, or maybe earn some more money. But for me, it's quality of life. Yeah. And in my own entrepreneur brain, like, we have some thoughts about expanding the preschool. But we want to keep this core what we have here. So it's like, well, how do you do that and expand? Well, maybe the end game will be to keep this. But I'm like you in that, yeah, we can go search for other things out there. But what about what you have right now? You and I said this downstairs. All we got is today. Right? And so let's focus on what we have here and now and make that quality. And I love what you say about community. Like, serve our community. And if you start expanding and going out and here and there, how can you do that, right? If you're having to focus on all these other areas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just a different philosophy, not right or wrong.
Yeah,
but
sure.
I don't think that you have to grow to be successful. I think that's a false paradigm, and I think it's part of the reason we are where we are.
Yeah.
And we, as a society and an economic platform called capitalism, are going to have to figure out, because it's not unlimited earth, there's not unlimited air, there's not unlimited water,
resources, and
we're going to have to learn how to survive without growth. But that's hard because everyone needs to make more money, right? And so, I mean, there's a lot of issues that come into that, and I think that that's really one of the areas I love to spend time thinking and I'm focused on.
Yeah, good. All right, let's talk about, I know, an area that is real personal to you and your family. And in our conversations, you reminded me, because I didn't know, I am not directly involved, but April is Autism Awareness, and you helped educate me, and Acceptance Month.
Yes, the words have always been changing.
Sure. Right. Yeah, so from your perspective as a parent, friend, and an employer, right? What does that really mean in real life?
So, first of all, I'm going to shift it just a little bit, because we talk about autism, but really you can talk about disability as a whole, because Down syndrome, Fragile X, whatever, it's all the same thing. It really, I mean, the way it works in real life is isolation. I mean, that's the biggest thing that you will find, is that the world shrinks. And for the family, and I think for the individual. And it's because there's not a lot of understanding and there's not a lot of acceptance. We're not a society that looks at others in a kind way. We want everyone to conform, and everything is built for this one model. And that's not the model that someone with a disability has. I will also say that every single person has a disability of some sort, and every single person needs an adaptation, whether it's their job or whatever, in some way. So really, this isn't that big of a deal, but we do have to look at things different and see how everyone has something to contribute. And as I said, it's the differences in people that is really interesting. It's not how we're similar. And I think it's challenging too. We don't like differences because it challenges the way we think. And you have to think about the other person's perspective. I mean, for me, it's a day-to-day thing. I mean, it is the number one thing in my life is always about how we can help my son thrive in his environment. But in this community, there's very, very little for my son to do. He is just too high needs for almost everything that's here.
Because it's all made for someone who's
higher function,
physically able, higher function, all of those things. Yeah.
I mean, look around the world. It's all set up for someone like you and I. I think what it's taught me personally, I mean, I'm truly blessed for my son because I would be a totally different person, much shallower, much not the person I am. But I've learned empathy. I've learned that everybody's got something. I mean, don't feel sorry for me. I can tell you people that are definitely have things much tougher than we have. And I think it's made me look, and I'm more accepting of people. And I think there's opportunities for everyone. As an employer, I look at what opportunities are there for you. And I mean, Jerrol's is not a good fit for everybody. I mean, that's one of the things you comment is our team. And it's because we look for people who are a good fit. But we also don't know if you're a good fit if we're talking about, we don't know. You've never tried it. No one's given you an opportunity to see. And we've put people in positions, and that absolutely was not. They thought it would be great, but the reality is like, oh, no way. But we found other positions for them where they truly thrived. And so it's a matter, like everyone, of finding the right seat for them. But, I mean, I have a team member who's been with us for probably 20 years. And every day I see him, he says, Rolf Williams, nice guy. Never changes. And I cannot tell you what that means to hear every day. It is fundamental. And it's so cool.
Because you gave him opportunity probably when others would not.
Perhaps.
No, I'll just say it. Not perhaps. You did.
And I just think we need to give people a chance and to not make assumptions. I mean, one of the things with autism that is somewhat unique is that there's no physical marker. And so you can be very misunderstood. Like, why are you misbehaving? Why can't you? And you see this in the school districts where people just don't understand because there's no physical marker that people would understand. And so I think when you see something, you can't just make an assumption. You have to give someone as much grace as you possibly can because you don't know what's going on in their life. Yeah,
I like that. I think you and I carry some similar philosophies of life, and there's quotes and memes that go around that I think we should be careful before we judge a person's situation because we don't know.
That's right.
Kind of a whole different realm, but when I see a person down at Safeway with the sign and they're asking for food or whatever, would I be lying if I said sometimes I'm like, oh, this or that, but I've been in that place where I didn't have a roof over my head. I was on the streets. And so you just never know
That's right.
what someone's going through or what their backstory is. Back to the autism.
I'm going to just jump back into that one thing. And
please.
No matter what, they're still somebody's son, someone's father, someone's...
They're a fellow human.
Right. They're a human. And everyone should be looked through that lens before anything.
I just a friend... was talking about having a conversation with someone who's homeless or unhoused or doesn't have a stable place to live, and how kind and respectful they were. And I just said, and I'll say this, there are times when I'll buy lunch for someone, or just like I would a friend, and I've always been met with gratitude and a smile and kindness, and it's like humanity, right? And I imagine a world where we are human with each other on levels like we're talking about. I imagine what change that would cause.
Yeah.
I want to ask a closing question before we go to you got one more question left and we're almost done. So the hot seat's not so hot for you anymore.
It's been terrible, let me tell you.
Yeah, I know. You look really stressed. Let me ask you this. For someone who's listening out there, and this might be part of your closing question too, but what advice would you give to parents who have a child and they just received the autism diagnosis?
Or any diagnosis.
Yeah.
So first of all, you're not alone. And second of all, other people have been in your shoes. So the number one thing I would say is reach out to parent. There's one in every single county in Washington State. There's actually one across the entire country. So you can Google them. My wife happens to be the coordinator.
Nice.
You can just come to Jerrol's and ask me. I mean, that's one of the reasons we put ourselves out there, is because we want people to know that this isn't something you read about in a magazine. I mean, and my son is not unique in this county.
Sure.
Whatever you want to say about autism, it's everywhere.
Yeah.
But reach out to parent and talk to another parent who's been there, who can guide you. There is no safety net. That's a lie. There are various organizations and systems that can help, but you have to do it, and you have to go to them. They're not coming to you.
Yeah.
So that's a fallacy to think that you get into a system and everything's taken care of.
It's going to be great.
But I will also tell you that you're going to get through it. And it's not nearly what it seems like it's going to be, but it is going to be different than what you thought. You thought your life was going to look like this, and it's not going to look like that. It's going to look different, but it's not going to be bad. It's just going to be different.
Good. So reach out. There's people out there. You're not alone.
Absolutely. Don't do this alone. And it takes time to be able to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's asking for help alone is hard, right?
And I've been there. I mean, I was in deep depression when I first started to realize when my son was 3 that things were where they were supposed to be. And I'm probably still processing that to this day.
What helped you climb out of that initial state of depression?
I'm blessed in that I have a wife, and we were together, and that's not going to change. I think that made a huge difference.
That's pretty powerful. I could imagine with any diagnosis, some couple, they do.
No, the statistics are horrible. Yeah. And to try to do it alone, I cannot even imagine. I mean, just
so you had that bond.
That's
you knew, so that helped.
Yeah, tremendously. And I think time heals, and you see it's not what you thought it was going to be, because your mind goes all kinds of places and you hear all kinds of stories and myths and things. It's like everything. Nothing's ever what you think it's going to be. I mean, there's just false expectations appearing real.
So I'm hearing this. You haven't said this directly, but educate yourself. Right?
Oh, absolutely.
Would you say?
Yes.
Yeah. Don't listen to the noise. Right. Actually educate yourself.
Right. Yeah. And like everything, I mean, it's not really how, it's who. Go find your who. Yeah. Go find somebody who can help you. You don't have to do this on your own. You don't have to learn it from scratch. Go find someone who can show you the path forward. And then you can tweak it to be yours.
Good. Thank you. Okay. Thank you for all that really meaningful information on any diagnosis, as we've talked about. But April is Autism Acceptance Appreciation Month, so thank you for sharing that. So one last question for you before our 2 closing questions that are lighter, if you want to call them that, but less meaty. I don't know. How has that experience, let's just all your experiences as a business owner, a family man, the father of a child with autism, motors, just all of it, just thinking about it. How has your experiences shaped the way you lead, hire, and support people in your business?
I guess I would just start with you're always learning. And I'm constantly amazed at how little I know and how much more there is to learn. I think I'm learning to be a better servant leader. And I think I hope that I eventually will learn things about vulnerability and humility and courage. And it sort of comes down to you need to accept the things you cannot control, right?
Oh boy.
And you need to have the courage to change the things you can change, and you need to know the wisdom between them.
Yeah.
And
it's not always easy, is it?
No, it's not. I mean, that's a lifelong struggle for everybody, but and I especially have problems around the vulnerability piece of that.
What's the struggle?
I am a person who is wired for independence and autonomy, and I don't want to feel controlled or boxed in and so to surrender any of that is difficult. Yeah. And I've spent a lifetime just putting armor around my heart to protect myself, and so my work is to break through that.
Yeah. Which, through these sessions, I find, we have more in common with people than we have different. And a little of my backstory. I lived a life of chaos in my childhood and then in my adulthood, and I've created a pretty good life for myself, right? And part of that is I've created that. I've done the work, like you've done the work. And there's something about having that giving that up seems really scary. Not that I'm going to give it up, but it's part of that vulnerability piece that you want to protect, right? Your heart, that you said. And I can really appreciate that. I want to share with you that, because I'm pretty out there. Like, I've shared my story. I've written a book about it. I've done it's for me, because I know you want to help people. And this podcast is going to help people. And we're guys of a certain age now, right? So I want to just share with you that I want you to just consider being vulnerable, knowing that the more we're vulnerable, the more we're helping the future generation. That's what I think about. Like, I teach at Central, and I love working with young people, and I say, you're our future leaders. Yeah. And so I really appreciate what you've shared in this podcast, and you're just a cool cat. I've always thought of you as a cool guy. We have, music and motorcycles and business. So thank you for that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah. Okay, we're going to wrap this up. Kind of like at the beginning, right? I said introduce yourself to people who don't know you, who are watching this or listening to this. This closing question is, what advice would you give someone trying to build something to last? If someone's listening to this, a young entrepreneur or maybe a middle-aged entrepreneur or something, just what advice would you give to someone to build something that's going to last?
So I'm going to take I don't think it matters. You don't have to be building a business. You could be building your marriage. You could be building anything. I think, this isn't new. I'm stealing it. But begin with the end in mind. I am a huge fan of a vision. Write a vision, and you don't have to write the how. That's irrelevant. The how will solve itself, but you need to know what this looks like. So if you're starting a business, are you going to sell the business? Are you going to turn it into multi-generational? Are you just going to liquidate it? But in the end, when it's done, what's the goal? Because if you don't know the goal, then how do you know what you're trying to build? And how does anyone else know how to help you? Mm-hmm. And so I really think you need to begin with the end in mind. Mm-hmm. I think you don't need to worry about the how. The how solves itself.
Yeah.
Too many people get hung up on they want to figure out how it's going to happen. And the universe takes care of that. It's a pretty amazing place when you clearly tell it what you're looking for. But I think that would be my advice.
Yeah.
And you need to believe in yourself. You need to have confidence. But those are things you get
and through strategy and skills.
And that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Two things come to mind which really speak to what you're saying. I believe in that too. Is when I started the KCRCO, which is now Peers Rising. Right. I started with the end in mind. I had a vision, right? Not a vision, but I wanted to create this entity in the community to help people in recovery, however that looks for them, right? And I started knowing that I wanted to let it go. I didn't want to be the executive director forever. It was always my goal to let it go. So it was along the way. And I remember when I announced that, people were like, oh my God, this is yours. How can you? I'm like, no, it's not mine. It's never been mine. I never intended. So that speaks to that.
Right.
And then we're literally, I record this podcast upstairs in my wife's preschool. And she had a childhood dream of opening a preschool, and she's created, you've seen it and you know her, with that end goal. She's realized, we just went over 5 years of what she wants to do for not just kids, but kids and their families, and how that affects the community, right? So I think you're right. And I also like that you say, you don't have to have it all figured out, right? Yeah. I work with students on campus. I'm actually heading out this afternoon to take a handful of students over to a conference at UW. And these students are future scientists, future researchers, future professors, future doctors, right? And I call them wicked smart kids, like some of the hard sciences. I'm like, wow. But they start getting overwhelmed with thinking about all they have to do to get to that end goal. I'm like, no. Just do it, have strategy. Here's a strategy, like we have kind of a guideline for them, but you don't have to have it all figured out. If you have a good vision, a good plan, a good goal, a good end game, it'll work itself out. And I saw that because I did. I was literally Ken File. I don't know if you know the Files, but Ken File handed me the keys to the original location. He knew me well. He's kind of like a father figure. He handed me the keys to the building and said, you have 6 months, figure it out. I was like, oh God. But then, like you say, I just one step at a time. Yeah. Right. Okay, last question. And this is one I always get a little nervous about, but I just this is what I do. What's something you've always wanted to ask me?
So I think I have 2 questions for you.
All right.
One for you, what is the secret to a good or happy life?
Knee-jerk responses we have today. In the recovery community, which is where I rebooted my life, the recovery community talks about living in today, living in 24-hour pockets of time, right? Yep. And
I've got that coin in my pocket.
Okay. Me and Katrina were in line with this too, is we got today. And we were just talking about like having a vision and creating something cool and all of this. I live my life as best I can. It's not always perfect, in 24-hour pockets of time. And I find when I do that, boy, things go a lot better.
Brilliant.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And my second question for you is, what book should I read?
Wherever you go, there you are.
Okay.
Wherever you go, there you are. And that speaks to this mantra of mine. If I were any religion, it would be Buddhist, but I'm, that's the book.
Okay.
It's a good one.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, thank you for coming on.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Are you a hugger?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, yeah. Let's do it. Dude, this was really good.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate the opportunity.
Super good. Yeah.